All right, today we're going to talk about the Internet of Things. That huge, kind of invisible network of smart devices that's basically running everything now. Our homes, our cities, even our factories. It's this amazing promise of a super convenient, super efficient world, but it also comes with some pretty serious hidden risks. And as you're about to see, sometimes those risks pop up in the weirdest places imaginable. So let's just start with this story that totally blew up online earlier this year. The headline was a real shocker. 3 million smart toothbrushes got hacked and were used in a massive cyber attack. Now, it turns out this specific story was actually theoretical, an example that researchers were using to make a point. But wow, it perfectly captures the strange new world we're living in, where even the most boring everyday objects are connected to the internet and, yeah, potentially vulnerable. So, what even is the Internet of Things, or IoT, anyway? Well, to put it simply, it's this giant network of physical objects. We're talking everything from your smartwatch and your smart thermostat to industrial sensors on a factory floor and even connected cars. They're all packed with sensors and software that let them connect to the internet and share data. They're basically the things that are making our world smarter and smarter. And you gotta understand, this is not some small niche market for tech enthusiasts. The scale here is just massive. I mean, look at this. In 2023 alone, businesses spent a staggering $236 billion on IoT tech. That's factories, hospitals, and entire global supply chains being completely rebuilt around all this connectivity. And it's not slowing down, not even a little bit. The market is projected to grow by a solid 17% every single year through 2030. This is without a doubt one of the biggest technological shifts happening in our lifetime. All that growth translates into a number of devices that's kind of hard to wrap your head around. By 2025, we're looking at an estimated 18 billion connected things all across the globe. To put that in perspective, that's more than 2 smart devices for every single person on Earth. Which, brings up a pretty basic question. How do all these billions of devices actually talk to each other? I mean, think about it. How do you get a tiny, low-powered temperature sensor out in the middle of a farm to reliably send its data to a server that's miles and miles away? This is a real challenge for developers. You can't just use the same power-hungry tech your laptop uses. It'd kill the battery in like 5 minutes. So, a really popular solution for this is a protocol called MQTT. The easiest way to think about it is like a magazine subscription, but for data. You've got a device, say that temperature sensor, and it publishes its data to a central hub, which is called a broker. Then other devices or apps can subscribe to that data feed and get updates instantly. It's incredibly simple and efficient, which makes it absolutely perfect for these little devices. But MQTT is just one part of this whole connectivity puzzle. When you get right down to it, there's no single perfect solution for everyone. This slide shows a couple of other popular options. Like for that farmer in a remote area, LoRaWAN is awesome. It uses a free, unlicensed spectrum, and you can build your own private network. But if you're in a dense smart city, you'd probably use something like NB-IoT, which just piggybacks on the existing cell networks for super reliable coverage, even if you're underground. Okay, so once these devices are all connected and talking, they're creating an absolute flood of data. Now, the old way of doing things was to send every little bit of that data up to a central cloud server to be processed. But that creates a huge delay, a bottleneck. An autonomous car, for example, can't afford to wait for a signal to travel all the way to a server and back before it decides to hit the brakes. The solution? It's called edge computing. It means processing the data right there, on or very near the device itself. And the benefits of doing things this way are huge. Edge computing is a real game changer. It means you get almost instantaneous decisions, you save a ton on data costs because you're not sending everything to the cloud, security gets a big boost since your sensitive data stays local, and the whole system can often keep working even if the internet connection drops. So when you put all this technology together, the things you can do are just incredible. I mean, they're literally changing our world. We're talking about smart grids that automatically balance energy use, remote healthcare monitors that track a patient's vitals from their own bed, and factory machines that can actually predict when they need maintenance before they even break down. This is the amazing promise of the IoT. But, and this is a big but, with every single new connection, every new device we add to this network, we're also opening a new door, and we don't always know who's on the other side. So what are the real risks of living in this super connected world? Well, a smart device usually becomes a security threat in 3 really simple steps. First up, installation. You bring it home, you set it up, and maybe you just leave the default password, something like admin and password, unchanged. Step 2 is compromise. A hacker scans the internet for these easy targets and just waltzes right in. And finally, utilization. Your device is now theirs, a soldier in their army, used for anything from spying to launching massive cyber attacks. And one of the sneakiest threats out there is something called IoT phishing. This is where a hacker uses your own trusted device against you. Just imagine getting a notification on your phone that looks like it's from your smart camera's official app. It warns you about a security risk and says, click here to update your firmware now. So you click it, and boom, you've just installed their malware. And hey, this isn't just some theoretical threat. Just look at the Flax Typhoon botnet. This was a real-world zombie army of over 200,000 completely normal, everyday devices, things like home routers and IP cameras, that hackers took over by exploiting old, known security flaws that were never patched. They then used this botnet to attack much bigger, much more secure targets. Okay, I know that was the sobering part, but the good news is you absolutely have the power to protect yourself. Basic security hygiene goes a really long way. So here's your playbook. First, always update your device's firmware from the official manufacturer's app or website, never from some random link in an email. Second, and this one is so important, put your IoT devices on a separate guest network. Third, for crying out loud, change those default passwords. Fourth, be super suspicious of any urgent, unexpected alert. And finally, you can look into tools that'll scan your network for you and point out vulnerable spots. But look, if you only remember one single thing from our chat today, please make it this. Isolate your IoT devices. Setting up a guest Wi-Fi network just for your smart plugs, cameras, and speakers is the single most effective thing you can do. It's like putting them in a digital quarantine. That way, if one of them does get compromised, the infection can't spread to your laptop or your phone, where all your really sensitive stuff lives. At the end of the day, what this all really comes down to is that the Internet of Things isn't just about cool gadgets and convenience. It's about a new kind of personal responsibility. Our homes, our cars, and our cities are all getting smarter every single day. The real question is, are we?